My name is Judy Anderson. I've lived in Charlotte County for 63 years. I came here from Georgia, and I am a former supervisor of elections in Charlotte County, and I've seen a great lot of changes over the years here. It was, growing up here was wonderful because it was small, and at that time, everybody knew everybody just about, and you didn't lock your car doors or your house if you felt like you needed to. And you know, I can remember Port Charlotte was nothing but cow pastures. There was no homes over there. There was nothing. People run their cattle and all over there, and that's how we got here. My father come here to work with Michael Company. The Michael Company, he was a plasterer. And when he helped build, he built almost the old houses in Port Charlotte. My dad plastered most of those. And then it went to general development up until he retired and went to work for someone else. So I went to Charlotte High School, graduated from there in 1965, and I'm a big Tarpon fan and still love the school. Love this area, really have no desire to ever leave, even though there's been so many changes. You know, when we went to school, we only had the elementary school and the high school. We didn't have a middle school. So I went to high school from the 7th grade to the 12th. It just was a wonderful community. And there's been a lot of good changes that have come. I mean, we've got more restaurants, more things to do than what we used to have. But when I was small, we played outside a lot. We wasn't on computers. We wasn't in the computer age. And I have to tell you, that's kind of hard for me even now, because I still go back to manually doing things or all like that. But we played outside a lot, and I can remember going to the movie theater. Vic Deswin's family owned the movie theater here. It was 9 cents to go. And now you better take $100 with you if you go, because it's very expensive. But when I graduated in 1965, in 1966, I went to work in the Supervisor of Elections office for Tosi Heineman. Now, Tosi was born and raised here, and her father was sheriff of Charlotte County at one time. And Tosi was a supervisor, and she hired me to do typing. Now, this was before the computer age, so all of our forms, everything was typed, and I loved to type, so that's what she hired me to do. And I worked there when I started in '66, not knowing that I would ever become the supervisor of elections and run for public office, but I was there for 38 years and loved every minute of it. With Tosi was so much fun. I can say when I started to work with her, we had 12,000 registered voters. That's all in 15 precincts. And we had the old lever voting machines. So over the years, we have changed so much. We hand counted absentee ballots. And you know, today there's equipment that does all of that. And there's a lot of good things in that, but still there's a lot of things that people question about it. I hated to lose them old lever machines, but they were just too big, too bundlesome, and it was hard to get them moved around and everything. When I went to work in '66, I was 17, and then I turned 18. I was not even old enough to vote. The voting age then was 21. So I had to wait several years before I could actually vote. But I actually grew up in that office and loved it. Really loved the people. And when I retired, I missed so much. I missed so many of the people, my poll workers, but I'm enjoying retirement now. I'm really enjoying Charlotte County and Punta Gorda. I'm a people person, and I love to visit with people, and I love to go, and I love to eat out at all the restaurants and do things. And with this COVID, it's made it real hard. You can't, you know, and you're trying to do everything to protect not just yourself, but other people. But yes, for over a year, it's kind of been shut in, and you do go, but you only go if it's necessary to get your groceries or to do whatever you need. I still keep in contact with people by phone, though, or by email. And, you know, it's just kind of hard. We never realized how great it was until we had this to happen. And we're like, and how could this ever have happened to us here? I never dreamed that I wouldn't be able to get out and go and do what I wanted to do because of this. And you know, the weather here in Florida, it makes you want to get out. You don't want to sit in the house. So that's made it really hard on having to stay in. Now, if you're up north with all the snow and all, you don't mind so much being in. You don't want to get out and all of that. But it's hard here, you know. And I have seen a lot of people, though, wearing their masks, riding bicycles. I told somebody the other day, I says, we're getting a lot of bike riders here in Charlotte County. And they go down to Gilchrist Park and Lashley Park, and they're starting to really do a lot of things like that, getting outside. But it's hard. It's hard to live in a beautiful place like this with the weather so nice to not get out and go and do. Well, you know, I think that if you ride around, and when I was in office, I always rode around looking at trying to find precincts convenient for people to vote. And I've been riding around. I've just always done that. And I cannot believe the building that's going on everywhere. I mean, new houses are going up everywhere. And I think that we're going to continue to grow. I really do. I think that we'll have a lot more stuff to offer. You know, it was real hard at one time when it's so small and you know everybody and you grow up and all at once it's so big and you don't hardly know anybody anymore, you know. And but I still think they have get-togethers. I think it's going to continue to grow. I think when I look at the city, they do a beautiful job here in Punta Gorda with offering things and everything. Down at the park, I was walking last night down there, and they're playing music down there, and there was a lot of people gathered around to watch that. And, you know, it's so nice to see that. It almost brings it back to the days when we got out and did that. And that's one thing I really enjoy. It's not that you just got to go buy a ticket and go somewhere. They're really having a lot of outdoor things, and I really enjoy that. Our parks are beautiful here. You know, Punta Gorda does. When you get out into Port Charlotte and the rest of the county, it's so large and it's growing. You know, I can remember going over to Englewood Beach, and it was like an all-day affair because there was nothing over there. There was no things. Now you leave Murdoch and into Englewood, you're there. You almost don't even know that you've gotten there because it's so built up anymore. So, yeah, I think it's going to continue to build, but I think Punta Gorda is still the hometown effect. If you go out on Main Street there on Marion and you see the restaurants that are open for people to sit outside on the sidewalks and everything, that's such a great feeling to see that. You know, that people walking up and down or sitting on the benches. It reminds me a lot because when we used to go to the grocery store every Saturday, a lot of the husbands would be sitting out on the benches waiting for the wives indoor, visiting. It was great. It was a visiting time. You got to catch up with everybody. So when you look now, when I drive through Punta Gorda in the evening and see people having dinner together outside and they're doing what they're supposed to do, it's really a great feeling. I think Punta Gorda is still Punta Gorda. I am so glad that I grew up here. I am so glad that my mother, we came several times before she would stay. We'd have to go back because she just didn't like it here. It was nothing. I mean, you know, like it was stuff, but to her when she comes from a bigger place. And my dad, of course, had to stay here because the work was good. And so we finally came and just loved it. I mean, I just can't imagine living somewhere else. And I've been places and I thought, well, you know, when I retire, maybe I might decide. I haven't found any place like this. I just love it here.